Yeah, my greetings to you, good fellows out there. I humbly share my greetings to you from whichever place you might be. I extend my greetings. I humbly extend my greetings. And we are still touching on the issues of religion and culture and how they affect our lives, and possibly how they probably might also would benefit our life, if they do benefit our life. I don't think so anyway. So, but I do find some things that I might also, will not be too critical about. And it's just like any other book. Reading in the other book, there might be some rejections of certain things, but some things might not be rejected. Now, entirely, I see the book that we use for religious purposes as a book which is meant to signify truth and honesty in the highest order, or in the highest form. And some of it are the Bible, and I don't think it has got the highest form of the honesty and the truth, or in a sense can be what we should put our hope in if we want righteousness in any way. I don't have the Quran, which is also another book. These are the two books, which is for Islamic people. These are the two books that we probably will be looking into. When a Christian book, the Bible that I've shown earlier, has got some links of the Judaism practice, which is the book of the Torah. I don't have that here, but the Old Testament sort of is being widely known to be translated from the Torah. So it's like a translation from the Torah. So probably we'll say 3 books we have, in 2 books. And they are just the 2 books of religious book that I want to use as a backup, or to the points that I have to share. They are just similar to the entire religion, because these are examples I can base on, examples that I can really reach out and read. They are quite widely accepted by many people, I myself, and they are books that are out there and everywhere to sort of convert people like me and everybody. So it gives you the right to search, to share, to debate the words, and bring out what your views are. I might not be before other people, but I'm sharing with other people, and comments are welcome. Genuine comments are very much welcome. So we can see what really, how we can best come up with the best decision so far, or the best results so far. I see that religion, or these books, should be very truthful. If any changes happen to it, then we have issues. Example, in the Christians, of which the faith or the gospel that comes out is really strongly in these days, not the latter days. In these days, it's being seen as a man called Jesus Christ, the story surrounding him, who is there to save us from the everlasting guilt that all generations are told to live with, or have been entangled with, to live with. It has been enforced onto you if you're growing up in a family. It's not just a normal guilt that your father will give it to you, but it is something that a guilt that will be put onto you to believe that the source of life that brought you into existence, that is if you fall into religion, and most people fall into religious parental guidance and all that. You've been told that you are a sinner, you are a filthy person. I mean, would you tell your son that, how can your son be proud of himself if you continually put him to that state of letting him know that he's a good for nothing child? You know how you grow up to feel very bad. It's like the same manner our God continually, through the lips of people, making us believe that the God is telling us that we are good for nothing. If you read the Bible, it tells you your righteousness is as filthy as rags. In the Islamic book, the same thing. In most books, first keeping you into the state of guilt where you feel that you are good for nothing, so that you open your doors for a good guidance to come to your life. Humble you. In a means, they see it as a process to humble you. That's how it's been viewed. So the idea and the strategy and the method is to humble you. Words like You are a sinner, you are a filthy person, you are all that makes you look humbled and down. You don't, and then the God idea of a person who is at the same time presenting it will be used with the rules and morals and all that will be set to make you guide your life to whichever stage that you are supposed to get to. So it becomes a norm, it becomes something that you easily can experience. So to first tackle on the Christian side, I was seeing it as Jesus being the one of the main gospel is centered around him. Now, actually, in actuality or in honesty, the truth, I have gone further to find out that his name is Yehoshua, a Jewish person who was rejected or widely rejected by the Jewish people in the Jewish land, that's the Arabian areas, and what we will say Israel today, and his disciples have, were some transporting themselves here and there with the gospel, and according to the story, they ended up in Europe. Now, the Europe, to say in America, is quite a long group of people, so many different groups of people. Russia, Britain, and French, Portuguese, Spanish, Americans, they're all together. So they see it. I don't know how the translation was made, but somehow the translation was made to translate the name Yehoshua, to Jesus. Yahweh is also the name of God. That's the main and the Father God, Yahweh. And there are other names as well. Those names probably have stayed as it should stay, but Jesus, for some reason, was translated. And in some form, in my videos, I compare a fingerprint of a person to a name of a person. It's an ID. It identifies you. And so if we go all over the places, we go all over the world, we travel here and there, our name still stays the name. It still stays the same, because that is the name that if you mention anywhere I have left, if I've done anything wrong or you're sort of searching me, anybody will recognize me by my name. So it's part of my identity. You can't just translate it or change it. If I change it, then I'm disguising myself to be something different, or I'm changing it for whatever good purpose. But in some ways, I have disguised myself from whatever I was or whatever the name was. And it might not necessarily be disguising, but it can be considered as disguising. But in this sense, the excuse is not like changing the name, it's like translating it. On the basis of translation, I didn't see how it should deeply change the sound of it or the pronunciation of it or the looks of the whole picture of a name being looked differently. Yehoshua and Jesus sounds very, very much different. But I don't know that the academics claim that it has been translated. Probably if I have the means to go and do the research, maybe I'll come up with logical things, because there are people who have studied it and they see it they see it as a logical approach of translation, which they believe and fall for the whole story, how it has been tuned and tend to become. I cannot go deep into that. But the surface of it can even give us an idea of where we stand when it comes to religion, especially the Christian religion that I'm trying to touch on. So the gospel has come from there, and it's like the Europeans have adapted it or have taken upon themselves to see it as theirs. So it becomes necessary to change or make translations into what they will suit them. So the fingerprints of a man had to be changed and put in. That sometimes they have these means where technology has provided a fake fingerprint. You can put it there, and you can deceive people. So now Jesus, as Yehoshua, Jewish name, is now Jesus. And if you don't have the motivation or the enthusiasm to go further to do your researches, to figure out the truth of how these things came about, you will never know that he was a Jewish. You will see it as Jesus and that's it. And the preachers who preach you whatever it is that they have been, the method is being taught, generally in the theologian schools, for them to present the whole idea. As I said, I have a background of fathers and mothers, and we all have those the parent guidance, which if they are not the type that goes or have interest in searching for the truth, anything they go for it. People lift up pictures and they believe it is really the picture of Jesus, is the true person, and they go down, they bow, they worship, and that also says, as I said, it is misleading. for people to be thinking that way, but people keep it that way because they have to means of keep the tradition going on. It is not meant for the fun of it. These things are not fun. It is not joyful. If we seriously want to see the background of where we come from, then we seriously have to tackle it in an honest and a truthful way.